like that the shorter one's here. So I wrote the whole thing up, and I think if anyone's ever seen me brief, you know I write it up and then I never even look at it again. So I'm going to go ahead and apologize now that I'm completely off script. Especially because General Gainey nailed pretty much my whole career. It's pretty wonderful. Stubbornness sums it up. Told a Marine gunnery sergeant that if he was what EOD we're supposed to emulate, I didn't want to be EOD anymore because I didn't respect him, so that worked well. Then it went on to 4-5 ADA with a buddy of mine, Rocha, and our platoon sergeant, which people know here, so you can ask him about the story. Good old Staff Sergeant Dustin Lee, who's a civilian at the schoolhouse, and he said some things I didn't agree with. So I told him he had some bad ideas, kind of like breathing, maybe he should stop those. That was great for Specialist Huddleston at the time. It just kept going, but I will say the leaders, I just came in at the right time. I couldn't have done anything I did without the leaders, the folks I worked with, my peers, and the folks that I was working for. I had leaders that were from the Gulf War, mold me, and so they shaped, I think, a pivotal time in war where we were transitioning global war on terror, and honestly a lot of NCOs got into a very copy and paste mentality. They go to a FOB, they know that fight, that's the only fight they know, they don't know how to lead anymore. But our NCOs at 4-5 at the time were crazy. A lot of them were transitions to 14 Juliet, and they were 14 Romeos, which those folks, for everyone in air defense, 14 Romeos were a bit crazy. So we got shaped by some amazing leaders. And then having to always get comfortable with being uncomfortable was the theme throughout my career. I was told very young that if you're doing something too long and you're great at it, it's because you're bored and you're doing the same thing over and over again. So switch out. So every time I PCS, I asked to do something new I'd never done before. They said they needed a volunteer, sure thing, I'll try that. Hey, what do you know about space? Nothing. Yeah, go shake the branch. Okay, sounds good. But I was told, and pardon my language, I don't think most of my family has heard me cuss much. I'm trying to keep it low. Some folks in uniform think it's weird I'm not cussing very much, but I was told I was a tactful asshole, which is why I got the job for space on top of knowing Okada and the schoolhouse and things like that because of the bulldog mentality. And for those that know, General Brooks knows that anything less than that, I probably would have been fired. He needed a counterpart, and I was proud to be his work wife for 2 years because he is entirely too big, brain-wise and body. But I will say I couldn't have asked for a better career. The EOD shaped me on attention to details, so I took what I needed from EOD, and I'm actually thankful I didn't go because the person that took my spot at my unit got both her arms blown off. Still great friends with her, but that's not worth doing something cool for a cool badge in the Army. Then I went to air defense. I was a little cocky when I got to air defense. You can keep your head still. You don't have to agree with everything. But that attention to detail brought me over. I had some great leaders. I had some great battle buddies in AIT that changed the way I was thinking because I thought I was too good for 14 Juliet, just being honest. Humility kicked me pretty hard in the teeth, and I chose to chew on it. And I got to go to 1st Cav 4-5, got to do some crazy things in the scout platoon, all their rotations to NTC with 1st Cav, 4th ID and 1st ID, and every time they wanted to take everyone from 4-5 in that Sentinel platoon to go forward with them because the exceptional soldiers that we had at that time, scouts. Going to Korea was crazy because I didn't want to go. I did tell the colonel, no, I don't want to be your driver. He's like, all right, you're hired. Okay, great. But it turned out to be wonderful because I did a lot of good things for him, which I just thought was the standard. But apparently if you do the standard, you're actually pretty exceptional as an NCO because most people don't read the books to know the standard. So I just kept getting more schools and more opportunities to go to schools that were higher ranked, and it shaped who I was. Coming back from Korea and all those folks, it was someone from 4-5 ADA that took care of me. He was at HRC, good old Sergeant Youngama, which is in air defense. A lot of NCOs did not like Sergeant Youngama, but he took care of his own. I guess that's good and bad, but he's retired, so I can say that. But he sent me to Hawaii because he said you need operational time deployed into combat, not operational time on a rotation to Korea. I will say I learned a lot from both. I don't think you separate the two. It's just what you learn at each. Had an exceptional chief warrant officer there, Goodman, that he begged me to go warrant. I did my whole packet for it, and it was just hit send and had his endorsement, the only endorsement he ever did in his whole career, and I did not submit it. I just like being an NCO. Really like the pay of the warrants and the officers better, but I like being an NCO, and I was never taken out of leadership during that whole time, so I didn't want to stop being a leader. But the chief shaped my knowledge base and my appreciation for what we did in Iraq. When you say the airspace of Iraq, it doesn't sound like a whole lot, but when we had, in 9 months, we had 183 attacks. So when you look at the CRAM, when you look at all the Sentinel radars, then you look at how we managed it, but the aviation folks controlled it. And that partnership you have to be able to talk to the folks for the longest engagement's about 30 seconds. The shortest engagement in history, I think, was 3 seconds that CRAM did. So when you're doing all those things, I was not doing that. I was just making sure people were doing their job and contacting me if they shot someone that was not supposed to be, or it was the right person. So it's, everywhere I went, I was surrounded by phenomenal people. Even if I had a bad leader, all my peers were phenomenal. My soldiers were always hungry. So I never had a platoon where people just didn't care about the Army. I even had a soldier that came in his 30s because he was working 3 different jobs, and he wanted to go in the Army so he could have a stable job to be around his wife and kids. But he was so exceptional, he finished everything by lunch. So I was sending him home by 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. His wife called me one day because she thought he was getting fired. Wasn't used to seeing her husband. He is still in. He made Sergeant First Class. He's doing wonderful things. So, but I cannot. If I had to name everyone, even just a 4 or 5, I would have to name the whole battalion of people that have shaped me throughout the years, and really who all meant the most to me. I will say half the time I wasn't even working for my leaders. I just took their intent. I was working for my soldiers. Even as a first sergeant, I told the whole battery, no one works for me. I work for you, which threw everyone off because we have good first sergeants here, so I can say it. I'm not talking about any of y'all unless it's March around. But a lot of first sergeants get up and they think it's their battery. They work for them. Commander just sits there and signs things, and that's not how it works. Commander owns the battery. You work for the soldiers. You advise the commander, and they had never heard that before. And hopefully they have some horror stories, I know, but hopefully I did more good than bad for them. But it was a Patriot unit, which threw me off because I was raised short-range air defense the whole time, so we butted heads, being the platoon sergeant. I did fire them all for a field exercise, made the specialist in charge, just to shake things up because I'm weird. So it only took 3 days of being fired before they wanted their jobs back. But I will say the stubbornness never left, but the smart mouth slowly left. But it didn't leave completely. Anyone from the schoolhouse, keep your stories to yourself. Great. But I will say, without the timing of certain things, without this command team that we have here, without certain people going into certain spots, Sergeant Major of the Army, the Vice Chief that became the Chief and having an understanding and a love for Army space, the team that was crushing it at the schoolhouse before me and at the time Colonel Brooks got into the job, we didn't have to shape anything inside the instruction. The course managers, the division chiefs, everyone was just killing it. We just had to say, how do we take what we're already doing and jump to the next level of an MOS? So what they're doing is not rinse and repeat with all these folks. We can finally train someone. They can own those soldiers and keep training to become the first sergeants and the CSMs that we see sitting in the front row. So that way the officers have a better counterpart instead of one of us random air defenders coming in. But I will say I never went anywhere where I was successful because I was doing it myself, not a single place. I will say I didn't necessarily pick 15:30 on a Thursday where it's super hot. I looked at 2 generals' calendars and this is where the cross section was and said, okay. And then one of them said, I'm going to UCOM. I'm like, okay, enjoy the beer. Just kidding, Patty, not drinking. But I wanted to keep it. So 21 August has a whole lot of importance to me in my military career. August is when I flipped off in EOD. So I had a new job in October, going to air defense. So that was August 2005. And in October 2005, I started air defense. August 21st, so today, 17 years ago, August 21st, was when my first team leader lost his life in Iraq. bittersweets for many years. Hopefully today changes the memory of what 21 August means. But he was all of 5'1", so he beat the Commandant. And he had more strength, more audacity than even General Brooks. And he would take us on PT runs at Eglin Air Force Base, Florida. If anyone's been there, it's wonderful. But PT there is horrible because you go on a run, halfway through you jump in the water, you swim across the bay, and then you run back and soaking wet. And he was Navy before, so he thought this was great. Navy and some recon things in there. Anyway, but he was all 5'1". So just the folks that have shaped me in August, the things that have happened. 1 August 2008, I got promoted to sergeant. 1 August 2009, I got promoted to staff sergeant. August 2019, I took my unit as the first sergeant into Kuwait. I had 2 PAT sites. So I had my main PAT site, and I had a forward station launcher site. And then August of 2020 is when General Garrett selected me for Force Com. So August throughout the years has meant a lot to me. So even though this is very hot, there's a lot of sweat dripping down my back right now. August means a lot. Honestly, did not expect this many people here, especially family and friends. I'm very thankful. My Twinkie is here. She stole all the looks, but I stole all the Cherokee blood, so I tan a little bit. A lot of people don't believe she's real, so now you can see she's real. And don't confuse me and her or anyone else as we're dating. We've gotten out a few times, which is really fun. But I just want to say, again, especially for the members that are here, Marsh your own, seeing some of these folks, even if I only got to touch them for a couple months here and there, but just seeing how they explode, and it's not because of me, but I opened a small door for Marsh your own because I saw something great, and he shot through it, shot through another one, and now he's going to be a sergeant major one day easily. And the things he's done, I wish I could talk about all the things he did, the schoolhouse and JTAG and everything else. But the biggest treat I have had is when I've gotten to see people progress further and faster than I have when I was at their stage again. One of my soldiers is a command sergeant major now. So he was an instructor of mine at the schoolhouse, and now he's a CSM of the time. It's fantastic. Seeing people get awards I've never seen before. So everyone on the JTAG Army team that was instructing actually helped out the Space Force for a few months. And so Space Force gave them all the Air and Space Achievement Medal. So I was extremely excited for them. But I've always been more excited when something happened for other people. 40 Delta, that's probably my crowning achievement in the Army. I get no benefit from it. I'm hoping all the folks next year that want to switch over, take 40 Delta, Master Sergeant Sermon, and the Commandant, and crush it, and it is the best MOS in the Army, I'm hoping. I'm hoping that people realize that not just changes their career, but it changes their personal life. Because if you can be more successful in the Army, lots of times you become a better spouse or a better husband, wife, whatever the case is, better father, better mother, because you have job satisfaction. You're not taking baggage home. You're not taking angst home. You're not taking anger home. You're excited to talk to them about what you can talk, because every single thing in Army space is classified. So it's not just a cheesy saying we can't talk about it. But I really hope that the legacy of what's done and the units and the positions that I've assisted with, it was never me alone. But I hope that really does change some people's lives for the better, professionally, personally. I hope I made Greg and all the other folks that I tormented at schoolhouse laugh more than I made them cuss me out behind closed doors. For all the TDYs I asked for you to sign, and all the random gym equipment I was asking Tess to sign off on, which I still never got. Marstrom, for me terrorizing you when you're down at JTAG and then up in the ops, like I really do appreciate some of my bulldogging that I know at times seemed a little bit far, but it was never about myself. It was about trying to help the officers, counterparts that I was with, and to make the lives better. And seeing some of y'all show up when you didn't have to show up, I appreciate it. Made you see it. So I know this is today, we're talking about me, but I can't think of any unit where I went to it and it was Sergeant Huddleston did, or Specialist Huddleston did, or Private Huddleston did. It was surrounded by the right people. And the reason I joined, just like General Gaines said, looking at family, a lot of them here, cousins that are served, cousins that are still serving, cousins in 160th SOAR doing some great things, earning distinguished flying cross with valor. Isn't that what he got? Yeah. I got some cousins doing some amazing things. He was an E5 sergeant and decided, no, I'm good, I'm getting out. So the willingness to serve in my family, the stance my family has taken on this country means something. If it means something, step up. And then also just that family means something too. So I'm very glad for my blood family that's here, even though some of them are crazy. I'm very thankful for my Army family, to include my first Army battle buddies, where we had some breakfast sessions to complain about 1-7, so we could make it better behind closed doors, even though he's ridiculous and I don't like standing next to him because he makes me look super small. He's a bodybuilder, so he knows what I'm talking about. I just can't. I'm very humble. I didn't know about all this stuff because they were hiding it from me, literally until right now. Tara, Tornado, where you go? Oh, yeah, thank you for everything. Where's Cheryl at? Yeah, thank you for letting me argue with you almost every day. It's fun. I like the banter. 4th ID ceremonies, the Sergeant First Class that like to hide out in civilians and act like they're not Sergeant First Class still. The 4th ID band, thank you very much for everything. The salute battery that crushed it, and I know my dad enjoyed it because not only was he artillery, he was nuclear artillery, so it was a little bit bigger band when we were loading on. We couldn't shoot those. But I just appreciate everyone that took the time to make this something for me. I don't like being surprised, although that it was killing me that I wasn't in every little inch of this ceremony and fixing things and tweaking things. But it meant a lot that I was told not to help out. So thank you. Ms. Vivian, thank you for not killing me every time I low crawled in and scared the heck out of you in office. I do have a 12-year-old personality at times. Tara did try to kill me a few times, so that's why I'm only thanking Vivian. And she stole all my candy. I just cannot say thank you enough for the folks that are here, the folks that are not here, the folks that have passed on. And I don't even know how to accept all this from the command, from the governors, from all those things. I will say thank you 100 times, sir, Sergeant Major, for the opportunity. Not only to have started in the job, but you never fired me. I appreciate that. I would ask what my left-right limits are every once in a while before I do something stupid or email something to a very senior sergeant major, but I never got in trouble for it, so thank you for that too. Chief Simmons, I cannot thank you enough for the support from Spacecom and Inside Space Force, for inviting me to nominative level things so I could gain that intellect. Patty, thank you for letting me steal, I'm going to say Dawn because I'm talking to you, steal Dawn and a lot of late nights and a lot of crazy TDYs, and I appreciate that being here and being alone, that you all accepted me into your family, and the wonderful food, even when you put salads out. Colonel Torres, thank you for so much when you were the deputy, ASTD, and then you were the deputy correction, and then you came up to the commandant, and I don't think, between you and Serna, which I love that you guys also have a background together, I don't think I could have handed off to a better team to not even have to worry about it. The 40 Delta is going great places, the branch is going to go great places. So I truly appreciate it. And Caitlin, I have to say, I'm going to come back around. This is it. I swear it's not a sermon. But twins, I've known her longer than anyone, plus 9 months. I came out first, so I'm better. But sticking with me all these years, whether she had a choice or not, whether I was chasing people off and knowing you in high school, or becoming adults and actually becoming closer and crushing our own careers, and then becoming 15-year-olds when we're around each other again. But being there at my basic training, graduation, being there at 14 Juliet graduation, being here today, so you've been with me at all of them. I really appreciate it. Mom and Dad, going off script bad now. because I don't have someone, so you're my someone. It's usually roses, but I also am very weird and I don't do things. So it's a birds of paradise, which she loves. Had them in California, in my house in Hawaii, we had them. She always loved them, so now you have birds of paradise. Because their house is a huge garden anyway. So and then a last round fire. So thank you for everything. I'm not gonna read this. And then if anyone has 40 Delta questions, Master Sergeant, no. Not truly.